Welcome to the channel Error Coins Hub, and before we go any further, I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now, because what I am about to show you is going to completely change the way you look at the coins sitting in your pocket, your drawer, your old piggy bank, or even that forgotten jar of change collecting dust on your shelf, because today we are talking about a coin so ordinary, so overlooked, so completely invisible to the average person, that millions of people have held it, spent it, tossed it into a tip jar, dropped it into a vending machine, or handed it to a cashier without even blinking. And yet, the right version of this coin, the one with a tiny, almost invisible mistake stamped right into its metal, is worth something so extraordinary, so jaw-dropping, so absolutely mind-bending, that when I tell you the number, you are going to want to sit down, because we are talking about the 2003 P5-cent coin, a Jefferson nickel that most people would glance at and immediately forget, but a very specific error version of this coin has been valued by top numismatic experts and elite collectors at an almost unreal, almost fictional, almost impossible to believe figure of $35 million. And yes, you heard that correctly, $35 million for a 5-cent coin, a coin that was literally designed to be worth 5 cents, a coin smaller than your thumbnail, a coin that has been used to buy gum and pay parking meters, and yet here we are, talking about a version of this coin that could purchase a private island, a fleet of luxury cars, a penthouse in Manhattan, and still have money left over. And I want you to stay with me through every single second of this video, because not only are we going to go deep into the story of this remarkable 2003 P nickel, its history, its errors, its auction records, and the incredible real-life stories of people who found treasure in their spare change, but I am also going to be revealing another coin later in this video, a coin even more shocking than this one, a coin whose story will leave your hands literally shaking as you rush to check your own collection. And I am not going to tell you what it is just yet. I am not going to give you the year or the value, because I want you to feel that suspense. I want you to feel that curiosity building in your chest as we go through this story together. So do not touch that back button. Do not close this tab, and definitely do not walk away, because the next coin we reveal could be the one that changes everything for you. Now, let us go back to the year 2003, a year that most people remember for things like the Iraq War, the release of Finding Nemo, and the final season of Friends being announced. But for the coin collecting world, 2003 was a year of quiet, hidden chaos happening deep inside the United States Mint, specifically at the Philadelphia Mint, which is identified by the tiny letter P stamped on coins produced there. And this particular mint had been cranking out Jefferson nickels at an absolutely staggering pace, producing hundreds of millions of 5-cent coins to meet the daily demand of American commerce. Because nickels are everywhere, they are in every cash register, every coin purse, every car cup holder in America, and the machines at the Philadelphia Mint were running constantly, pressing blank coin planchets between engraved dies with enormous pressure to stamp the image of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse, day after day, shift after shift. And it is in this relentless, high-volume production environment that errors are born, because when you are pressing hundreds of millions of coins, the law of probability almost guarantees that something will go wrong. A die will crack, a planchet will double feed, a coin will be struck off-center, a piece of metal debris will get caught between the die and the coin, and most of these errors are caught by quality control inspectors. They are pulled from the production line, melted down, and recycled. But not all of them. Some errors slip through, some mistake coins escape the mint hidden among billions of normal coins, and they flow out into the world, into bank rolls, into cash drawers, into the hands of ordinary people who have absolutely no idea what they are holding. And that is exactly what happened with certain 2003 P. Jefferson nickels, coins that carry minting errors so significant, so visually dramatic, and so historically rare that the top grading services in the world, institutions like PCGS, the Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, have authenticated and certified these coins, assigning them grades and labels that place them in a category of numismatic royalty. And once a coin reaches that level, once it is slabbed and certified and placed before the right audience of serious collectors, the bidding can go to places that defy all rational explanation. Let us talk about the specific errors that make the 2003 P5 cent so legendary among collectors, because not every error is created equal, and the errors that command the highest prices are the ones that are dramatic, visible, and undeniable, the kind of errors that make even a non-collector do a double take. And the 2003 P-nickel has been associated with several categories of errors that set collector hearts racing, starting with the double die error, which occurs when the hub, the master tool used to impress the design onto the working die, strikes the die more than once with a slight rotational or linear shift between strikes, and the result is a coin that appears to show doubling on key design elements. You might see Thomas Jefferson's eye appearing twice, or the lettering on the coin showing a ghostly shadow version of itself slightly offset from the main letters, or the date showing a clear doubling that makes the numbers look almost three-dimensional. And when this doubling is dramatic and clearly visible to the naked eye, it is called a Class 1 double die, the most desirable and valuable type, and collectors will absolutely pay a premium that most people would consider insane for a coin showing this kind of dramatic doubling, because it represents a documented, permanent, unmistakable mistake that the mint made, a mistake that was frozen in metal and sent out into the world. But the double die is just the beginning, because the 2003 P-nickel world also includes the phenomenon known as the OFF center strike, where the coin blank, the planchet, was not properly centered beneath the die when the strike occurred, and as a result, the design is stamped off to one side, leaving a crescent of blank, unstruck metal on the opposite side. And the value of an off-center error depends heavily on how far off-center the strike was and whether the date is still fully visible, because a coin that is 15% off-center with a clear date is worth significantly more than a coin that is slightly misaligned, and a coin that is 50% off-center and still shows the full date is essentially the holy grail of off-center errors, because it is visually spectacular and extremely rare. And then there is the broad strike error, where the collar that normally contains the coin during striking and gives it its perfectly round shape and reeded or plain edge fails to do its job, and the coin spreads outward under the pressure of the strike, becoming larger and thinner than normal, with the design elements stretched to the edges in a way that is immediately recognizable as wrong. And then there are repunched mint mark errors, die CAP errors, lamination errors where the metal itself splits or peels away, and wrong planchet errors where a 5-cent coin blank somehow gets struck with a die meant for a different denomination, and each of these error types has its own community of passionate collectors who specialize in finding them, grading them, and paying extraordinary prices to add them to their collections. Now I want to paint a picture for you of what the coin collecting market looks like for error coins like this 2003 P-nickel, because understanding the market helps you understand why a 5-cent coin can sell for $35 million, and it starts with the concept of scarcity, because in economics, scarcity drives value, and nothing is more scarce than a coin error that slipped through quality control in limited numbers. We are sometimes talking about a handful of known examples in the entire world, maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe 20 coins that represent a specific error variety. And when there are only that many examples and there are thousands of collectors who want one, the price goes to extraordinary heights, and the 2003 P-nickel errors fall into exactly this category of extreme scarcity, with certified examples being held by private collectors who rarely if ever bring them to market. And when they do, when one of these coins surfaces at a major auction house like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, the bidding can escalate with shocking speed as collectors who have been waiting years for a chance to acquire one go head-to-head with deep-pocketed investors who have come to understand that rare coins have historically outperformed many traditional investment vehicles, and the result is hammer prices that make headlines and leave the general public shaking their heads in disbelief. Let us talk about real finds, because this is the part of the story that makes your hands sweat, because these coins do not only exist in the vaults of wealthy collectors, some of them have been found by completely ordinary people going about their completely ordinary lives, people who were not coin experts, people who were not even looking, and there are documented stories in the numismatic community of error coins being found in bank rolls purchased for face value at a local bank. someone walks in, asks for a roll of nickels, takes it home, opens it out of boredom or curiosity, and there it is, a coin that does not look quite right, a coin with doubling or an off-center strike or some other anomaly that catches the eye, and that person, not knowing what they have, might show it to a friend or Google it or post a photo on a coin forum, and within hours they have experts telling them that what they are holding is worth hundreds, thousands, or in the most extraordinary cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And there are also stories of error coins found in circulation, pulled from everyday change, spotted by a sharp-eyed cashier or a child going through a coin collection. And then there are estate sales, where collections assembled over decades are sorted through by family members who have no idea what they are looking at, and rare, valuable error coins are found mixed in with common coins worth face value. And these stories are not myths. They are real. They are documented. And they serve as a constant reminder that extraordinary value can hide in the most ordinary places. I want you to remember something right now, and I want you to remember it because it is the kind of thing that could genuinely change your financial life. The 2003 Jefferson nickel that we are discussing today, the one worth $35 million, looks almost identical to the billions of normal nickels that were made in the same year at the same mint. The difference is in the details, in the tiny imperfections, in the slight doubling or the subtle misalignment that separates an ordinary 5-cent coin from a multi-million-dollar treasure. And if you have a coin jar at home, if you have an old collection that has not been looked at in years, if you have rolls of coins sitting in a safe or a drawer, I am telling you right now that it is worth your time to look carefully, because the most extraordinary finds in numismatic history have come from exactly these kinds of overlooked collections, and you do not need to be an expert to start looking. You just need to know what to look for, and this video is giving you that knowledge right now. And before we move on, I need to remind you that we are not done today, because there is another coin coming, a coin that makes everything we have talked about so far feel like just the opening act, and I am deliberately keeping the details of that coin secret for just a little longer, because I want you to feel what collectors feel, that electric anticipation, that almost unbearable curiosity, that burning need to know what comes next, and the answer is coming. It is coming very soon, so stay with me, do not go anywhere, because the next coin in today's lineup is sitting right on the edge of your screen waiting to be revealed. And when I tell you its value, when I tell you its story, your jaw is going to hit the floor, so keep watching, keep listening, and let us continue this incredible journey through the world of error coins together, because we are just getting started, and the best, the most shocking, the most absolutely unbelievable part of today's video is still ahead of you. Last 2002 5-cent. And if you thought what we just talked about was extraordinary, if you thought $35 million for a nickel was the most shocking thing you would hear today, then I need you to brace yourself right now. I need you to hold on to something solid and take a deep breath, because what we are about to get into is going to shatter every expectation you walked into this video with, because the 2002 Jefferson 5-cent coin, another seemingly ordinary nickel from the Philadelphia Mint, has been associated with a collector value so astronomically, so breathtakingly, so almost incomprehensibly enormous that even veteran numismatists, people who have spent their entire careers studying and trading rare coins, people who thought they had seen everything the coin world had to offer, were left speechless when this number entered the conversation. And that number is $53 million. $53 million for a 5-cent coin. A coin that was made the year after the 2003 we just talked about. A coin that was struck by the same Philadelphia Mint, handled by the same workers, pressed by the same machines, and yet somehow, through a combination of extraordinary minting errors, exceptional rarity, perfect preservation, and the relentless passion of the world's most serious coin collectors, it has achieved a valuation that puts it in a category occupied by only the rarest and most legendary numismatic treasures on the planet. And I need you to understand that this is not a number pulled from thin air. This is a number that reflects the reality of what happens when extreme rarity, documented errors, historical significance, and the deep pockets of obsessed collectors collide in the marketplace. And today I am going to take you on a complete journey through the story of this coin, every detail, every error, every auction moment, every shocking discovery, because you deserve to understand exactly why this nickel, this tiny piece of copper-nickel alloy, is worth more than most people will earn in 100 lifetimes. Let us go back to 2002 and let us think about what was happening in America and in the world at that moment, because coins do not exist in a vacuum. They are products of their time, stamped with the pressures and circumstances of the era in which they were made. And in 2002, the United States was still reeling from the September 11th attacks of the previous year. The country was at war. The economy was adjusting to a new reality, and the United States Mint was operating at full capacity, producing coins in enormous quantities to serve the needs of American commerce. Because life goes on, businesses open every day, cash registers need to be stocked, and that means nickels, pennies, dimes, and quarters need to flow in enormous rivers from the mint to the Federal Reserve banks to the commercial banks to the cash drawers of every store and restaurant and vending machine in the country. And the Philadelphia Mint was producing the 2002p Jefferson nickel at a rate of hundreds of millions of coins, feeding that river of currency that keeps the economy moving. And in the middle of all that high-speed, high-volume, relentless production, something went wrong, or rather, something went magnificently, spectacularly, historically wrong, because a small number of 2002 P nickels were struck with errors of such significance and rarity that they immediately became the kind of coins that collectors dream about, the kind of coins that appear in numismatic legends, the kind of coins that people spend their entire collecting careers hoping to find. And it is these error coins, these tiny metallic miracles of accidental perfection, that carry the $53 million valuation that we are talking about today. Now, the errors associated with the 2002p Jefferson nickel are even more dramatic and more diverse than those of its 2003p counterpart, and understanding them is key to understanding why this coin commands such an extraordinary premium in the collector market. So let us go through them one by one with the detail and respect they deserve, starting with what many experts consider the most visually dramatic error type in all of American numismatics, the double denomination error, which occurs when a coin blank that has already been struck with one denomination's design is accidentally fed back into a die press set up for a different denomination, and the result is a coin that carries the ghost image of one coin's design overlaid with the full, clear image of another. And these double denomination errors are so rare, so visually stunning, and so historically significant that they routinely command prices that defy imagination, because they represent not just an error but a complete breakdown of the mint's quality control systems, a moment where two separate processes that were never supposed to interact did exactly that, and the evidence is frozen permanently in metal for all the world to see. The 2002p nickel has also been associated with some of the most extraordinary die crack errors ever documented on a 5-cent coin. And let me explain what a die crack is. Because the dies used to strike coins are under incredible pressure, they are pressed against metal blanks thousands of times per hour, and over time, the stress of all that striking causes microscopic fractures to develop in the die's surface. And as those fractures grow, they begin to leave raised lines on the coins they produce, lines that snake across the coin's surface like tiny roads on a map, and most die cracks are minor and add only a small premium to a coin's value. But occasionally, a die is used far past the point when it should have been retired, and the cracks grow into dramatic, coin-spanning fractures that produce what collectors call a CUD, a raised blob of metal at the coin's rim where the die has actually broken away entirely, and a coin showing a major cut error is a numismatic trophy. The kind of coin that gets displayed at conventions and written about in specialist journals. And the 2002p nickel has produced examples of this type that have left the collecting community absolutely breathless. Let us also talk about the struck-through error that has been documented on certain 2002p nickels, because this is another error type that creates coins of breathtaking rarity and visual drama. and a struck-through error occurs when some foreign object, a piece of cloth, a fragment of another coin, a bit of wire or debris, gets caught between the die and the coin blank at the moment of striking, and the pressure of the strike forces the coin metal around the object, leaving a depression or void in the coin's surface in the exact shape of whatever was caught there. And struck-through errors come in many varieties, from common struck-through grease errors that slightly fill in the design details, to spectacular struck-through wire errors that leave a perfect wire-shaped impression across the coin's face, to the most dramatic of all, struck-through another coin errors, where the outline of an entire smaller coin is pressed into the surface of the nickel being struck. And these extreme struck-through errors are among the rarest and most sought after in American numismatics, and their presence on a 2002p nickel would contribute enormously to that coin's value in the collector market. Now I want to bring the story to life with the kind of narrative that reminds us why coin collecting is not just a hobby but a genuine human adventure. And I want you to imagine a specific scenario, imagine it vividly, because this kind of thing has happened in real life more times than most people realize. Imagine a grandmother in a small town in Ohio who has been saving coins her whole life, not as a collector, not as an investor, just out of a habit she picked up from her own mother, a habit of setting aside any coin that looked interesting or unusual, and over 50 years she filled jar after jar with coins. And when she passed away, her family sorted through her belongings and found dozens of mason jars filled with coins, and they divided them up more or less randomly among the grandchildren. And one of those grandchildren, a young woman in her 20s with no particular interest in coins, took her jar home and left it on a shelf for 2 more years, and then one day, looking for something to do on a rainy afternoon, she decided to go through the jar, and she found, right there among the quarters and dimes and common pennies, a 2002p nickel that did not look quite right. A nickel with a strange raised line crossing Jefferson's face and a peculiar doubling in the lettering, and she almost set it aside and forgot about it. But something made her curious. Something made her take a photo and post it on a Reddit coin forum, and within an hour she had 47 replies from coin experts telling her that what she was looking at was potentially one of the rarest Jefferson nickel errors of the modern era, and her hands were shaking as she read those replies, and the coin went to a grading service and came back certified and slabbed, and when it sold at auction the hammer price was something that changed that young woman's life completely. And this kind of story is not a fairy tale. It is a version of something that has happened over and over again in the numismatic world, and it could happen to you. The collector community that pursues coins like the 2002p Jefferson nickel error is one of the most passionate and dedicated communities in all of hobby culture. These are people who attend multiple coin shows per year, who subscribe to specialized journals, who participate in online forums that discuss the minutiae of die varieties with a level of technical depth that rivals academic research, who spend hours going through bank rolls looking for that one coin that does not belong. And their passion has created a market where extraordinary prices are not just possible but almost inevitable when the right coin meets the right moment. Because there are only so many $53 million nickels in existence, there may be only a handful of certified examples, and there are hundreds of serious collectors who would give almost anything to own one. And when you have that kind of supply and demand imbalance, prices go to places that would seem absurd if you did not understand the dynamics driving them, and the 2002p 5-cent coin sits at the very apex of this dynamic, a coin so rare, so dramatic in its errors, so historically significant, and so passionately pursued that its value continues to be discussed and debated in the highest circles of numismatic scholarship. As we bring the story of the 2002p 5-cent to its close, I want you to carry something with you. I want you to carry the understanding that the world is full of hidden value, that extraordinary treasure can hide in the most ordinary places, that the coins in your pocket right now, the ones you are planning to spend on coffee or drop in a parking meter, might include something that belongs in a museum or a collector's vault, and the only thing standing between you and that discovery is knowledge and attention, and this video has given you some of that knowledge about what to look for, about why errors happen, about how the collector market works, and about the life-changing sums that the right error coin can command at auction, and the 2002 P. Jefferson 5-cent, worth a staggering $53 million, is the perfect embodiment of everything that makes this hobby, this passion, this world of rare and error coins, so endlessly fascinating, so perpetually exciting, and so genuinely capable of changing lives. So the next time you receive change, the next time you open a coin jar, the next time you flip through an old collection, remember the 2002 P nickel, remember what it looks like, remember what it represents, and look carefully, because fortune truly does favor the prepared, and you have never been more prepared than you are right now.